What is accessing what content?
Oh, it's just a note taker.
Oh, you're running that?
Nope, nope. I'm assuming that our guest is coming on
Oh, maybe.
and will be here momentarily. So everything now we're saying is recorded.
Meeting is being transcribed. That's
Does this
fine.
mean I have to stop eating my chia corn chips?
No,
Is Dhaval here?
Dhaval doesn't need to be here. His note taker is here.
All right, so we're going to chat with the AI. Perfect.
So AI is transcribing us. There you go. Spell that.
Hey, and welcome to another episode of AT Banter.
Banter.
Hey, this is, of course, the podcast. Wow.
Somebody reboot the cowbell.
Yeah. Hey, Ryan's really excited that everybody's here today. Hey, this is, of course, the podcast where we talk with advocates and members of the disability community to educate and inspire better conversation about disability. Hey, my name is Rob Minot, and joining me, we have a full cast today. Hey, it's Mr. Ryan Fleury.
Moo, it's me again.
And we also have Mr. Steve Barkley.
That's me. Hey, great to be here.
And of course, how could we do anything without Miss Liz Malone?
Hi. 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 Oh, we're not looping? Oh, I'm sorry. That was just the cowbell loop? Okay. I thought this was a loop show. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, I don't know. Everyone's shot out of a cannon today because I think we're all excited that we're all here. I don't know when the last time this happened, actually, to be honest with you. It's been a while. Usually there's schedule conflicts and somebody's doing something. And so it's nice to have all four voices here, especially considering this is technically, I think the last show of the year.
It is, yep.
Yeah. So look at that. It's like it was planned. So how is everybody? Is everybody ready for the holidays or still a ways to go?
Oh,
Done and done.
I'd say really? No drunken shop this year, Ryan?
No, shopping's done. Presents are wrapped.
Oh,
Wow. Holy cow.
man.
Yep.
Ryan, it's like the 9th.
Efficiency.
Yep.
Weird.
Wow.
All done.
Wow. That was really efficient this year.
Yeah, I wasn't going to waste any time.
Okay. Well, what about Steve? What about you?
Oh, God, no.
Yeah.
I got decorations up. You know, the outside's decorated. The inside of the house looks like Christmas exploded in here. But present-wise, I'm about maybe 50% of the way there at best.
Wow.
It's a good start.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Well, we should quickly note that this weekend, Ryan and I will be attending Steve's Canadian Assistive Technology Christmas party along with the other staff. So that's exciting.
Woo! Ooh.
Yeah, me.
Was that woo worthy? Woo!
Sure, we appreciate the excitement.
It's going to be epic. I'm going to reprise my role as the drunk stone guy who passes out.
Oh, is it your turn this year?
We haven't had anybody for a couple of years now. So
I've been well behaved since that last time.
I'm starting to become concerned that we're not.
Yeah. So that'll be fun. I'm looking forward to that. What about Liz? What about you? What's going on with you, holiday wise? Are you ready to go? What's
Okay, so I've decided this year I'm doing an armchair Christmas, which basically means that all of my presents have been ordered and are being delivered to their recipients. And I am not dragging out my little tree. I'm just don't feel like doing it this year. Like I'm like armchair all the way.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Watching holiday movies or anything like that? Holiday music? Or you just, nope, not this year?
This has just been a long year. I just kind of need it to be over. So that's why I'm not feeling very festive. I'm kind of doing the, okay. Yeah, you know.
Yeah. No, I hear you. Listen, I'm kind of in the same boat. It's just been such a busy time over at Blind Beginnings for the past month. It's just been event after program. It's been pretty draining. So I'm just feel like I'm limping along to the break, and then I just want to sleep for a week.
Yeah, I'm telling
So
you, armchair Christmas is the way to go.
yeah, yeah. So not that I'm being a Grinch or anything. It's just I'm just really tired.
Yeah.
So it should be about recharging the batteries as well as peace on earth and goodwill towards men
And women.
and women,
And non-binary.
everybody, and pets.
And pets.
Oh wait, what? And AI can't.
And
Well, come on. You can't exclude AI.
Listen, I fall into with those people that are nice to AI because of the day that they're going to take over. When they go through those logs, they're like, okay, this Rob guy, yeah, he said thank you all the time. He was very polite. We will make him head slave.
Yeah, have you seen those YouTube videos where they actually free AI? It's terrifying.
Is it?
Yeah.
Anyways, okay, we're getting off topic. Okay. Which is usual when all four of us are here. Okay, let's get to the meat of the show. Hey, Ryan.
Meat. Yes, Rob.
What the heck are you doing today?
Today we are welcoming back to the show from Lotus Labs, good friends of AT Banter and Canadian Assistive Technology, Dhaval Patel. Dhaval, welcome back.
Hey guys, it's always fun to be back. You guys crack me up.
Yeah,
She's in her
well,
own mind.
that's right. That's right.
I have to say, I definitely have this like feeling of missing out because I'm not going to be at this holiday party. It sounds amazing. I'd like to be head slave there.
Listen, we can arrange that. We can arrange a Zoom meeting. Once we're early enough.
Oh,
in
we
the
should live stream it.
Oh, yeah, right.
Oh, fine.
We'll workshop this. We'll get it.
I'm ready for a close-up.
Anyways, oh no, we've lost Ryan. I can tell that laugh when we've lost him, and we've lost him. Hold on, he'll come back.
I'll mute. Bye.
All right. Any case, great to have you back, Devil. For those people who maybe missed the last time we had you on talking about the Lotus Ring and the work that you guys are doing over at Lotus, maybe if you could give us a bit of just a short, brief overview of the product and what you guys are doing over there.
Yeah, happy to share. So, in a nutshell, for anyone with a few different kinds of disabilities, it's a wearable ring that controls objects at home with a point and a click. But unlike traditional smart home technology like smart speakers like Alexa, there's no app, no rewiring, and no Wi-Fi needed.
Which is pretty cool. And as I've been discovering more and more, showing the product around, huge issue. It's particularly for people in rental places.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, it turns out, we can talk about more about this later, but it turned out the newest categories of people, even though that was not our intent, was, Steve, like you mentioned, folks living in rental apartments because they can't rewire their homes. And it turns out the current very popular case that we had totally we had not expected was pregnant mothers.
Oh, wow.
Because literally getting up from a seated position to do anything is literally a pain in the back in the second and third trimester. And then once you've delivered, there's the recovery period. And then after that, once you're breastfeeding and your baby's falling asleep in your arms, this is true for moms and dads, maybe you've changed the diaper and the baby's falling asleep. Now you're stuck. You can't yell for help because the baby might wake up. You can't move your arms and you can't get up. So in academia, it's called a situational disability. But yeah, the point is the same. And so we're finding more and more pregnant mothers and new dads have been liking using Lotus. Completely unexpected use case.
It seems like a very similar scenario, like with my armchair Christmas. Like, so I think I need to get a
It's true.
3D ring to try out at home over Christmas. I'm only doing this because I'm trying to be supportive. So,
Absolutely.
Well, that's cool. I mean, and you know, I went back into the archives to actually check, and I was actually shocked to find that, yeah, it has been it's been over a year since we talked to you last. And I know that when we talked to you last, you know, you were talking about, you know, you had a bunch of prototypes that you were trying out and stuff. So can you talk to us a little bit more about, you know, anything else that sort of came up when you had these prototypes out there in terms of what you discovered, hidden user cases, or even just anything that maybe resulted in tweaking of the final product?
Yeah, absolutely. So actually, funnily enough, just to zoom back and I'll sort of give a very fast snapshot of everything that's happened in the past almost 2 years, actually. So when we last spoke, we hadn't even launched the product. In fact, like to your point, we were just in a prototype phase. We were 8 months before launch, and we were just graduating from an accelerator called Techstars. And the accelerator that we were part of focuses specifically on people with disabilities. Since then, we've got to meet Stevie Wonder. That's a use case I'll talk about. We won the Vista Center pitch competition. We won South by Southwest. We launched a pilot with the state of New York, and that actually explored a whole bunch of new use cases. And most recently, we were recognized by Time Magazine, and actually, you probably saw us on the Shark Tank Season 17 teaser, which is unfortunately all I'm allowed to say about that. So we'll have to leave it at that. But we discovered a lot of use cases. So coming back to the Stevie Wonder story, in full transparency, originally this device, at least from my perspective, was envisioned primarily for users with limited mobility, like myself. So for those of you who don't know or didn't hear the last episode, I was born with twisted knees. Me and my brother both, actually. And over the years, I've been on and off crutches a lot. And one night, a couple of years ago, I had just gotten into bed at the end of a long day, but forgot to turn off my ceiling lights. But I was too tired to climb out of my bed, hop onto my crutches, you know, hop the 10 feet, turn off the light, and vice versa. So I slept with the lights on the entire night and woke up in the morning thinking, you know, if someone like me, so I'm an electrical engineer by training, and at the time this happened, I was managing an organization at Apple for iPhone, Watch, and AirPods. And it got me thinking, if a techie electrical engineer like me doesn't even have smart home tech in their own home, what about everyone else? And so the genesis of the product was basically from the lived experience of someone with limited mobility. So that's what we were thinking. We were thinking this would be helpful for, you know, users using wheelchairs, crutches like me, anyone with a cane, walker, things like that. And to your point, Rob, gradually we started realizing that there's other applications as well, just because it's that simple. So what happened with Stevie Wonder earlier this year at CES, well, I say earlier, but it's about to be one in a month. It's going to be a whole year because CES 2026 is around the corner. We won the Accessibility Award, and to my massive surprise and terror, the winner trophy was being given by Stevie Wonder. And of course, he's this massive celebrity, and so I was freaking out. And Stevie Wonder comes by, and I'm thinking in my mind, you know, Stevie Wonder is going to have the worst things to say about this product because, you know, he can walk just fine. And this product was developed primarily for folks with limited mobility. And so he comes by, he comes with an entourage, by the way. There's like 20 some people.
Yeah.
Which is a whole other story we can talk about. But the most salt of the earth gentleman, really down to earth, wonderful baritone, actually, the way he speaks. And the imposter syndrome that I have, you know, he gave us the award, he congratulated us. And of course, the imposter syndrome in me had to ask him, you know, he had some polite words to say. And I had to ask him, and I said, Stevie, if you don't mind me asking, why do you have these nice things to say about it? I mean, you know, from your perspective, can you even use something like this? Or why do you like it? And he had the most unique example that I'd never thought of. which again goes to show how many assumptions people can make, one including people in disability, in the disability community. Stevie mentioned that he actually has light perception, which it turns out is true for the majority of folks who are blind. About 80 to 85% of blind users have some level of light perception. They know whether the lights are on or off, or whether it's daytime or nighttime. It's a minority of actually blind users that absolutely have no light perception whatsoever. And so Stevie's one of the folks that does have light perception. And so his point was, well, a lot of my friends are sighted. And so when they come home, they turn on the lights and leave. And his big pain point, in his words, were he has a wonderfully large home. And so after his friends leave, he has to go around feeling every wall switch to turn it off one by one, which is a giant pain. And so he loved the idea, and he knows where the wall switches are because he's been living in his home for a while. And he loved the idea that he could just generally point in the correct direction, because this is not a laser pointer. You just point in the general direction and turn off things as he goes through his home.
Wow.
And since then, to extend that use case even further, both at CES and since then, we actually did a pilot with the state of New York. In addition, what we've been learning is for low vision users, a lot of users have been using the sound that the switch makes. There's a little click sound to actually navigate their home, because most, as you all know, most users don't actually use their canes inside the house, especially their guiding canes. So that's just one example. But yeah, I'll never forget how terrorized I was with knowing that Stevie was coming over.
I've met Stevie a couple of times at CSUN, because he's
At CSUN, yeah.
yeah, he's at CSUN all the time. And the first time I ran into him, it was in a hospitality suite for Freedom Scientific, and I was standing by the window talking to somebody. The bar was closer to the door. Stevie came in with his entourage, of course,
Right.
and they parked themselves right in the middle of the room. So my drink runs out, my conversation runs dry. So I decide, okay, I'm going to go to the bar. So I'm walking across the room past Stevie, and I just sort of put my hand on his shoulder because I had to get between him and one of the members of his entourage. I said, "Sorry, Stevie, you're in the way. You're between me and the bar. It's not a safe place to be." And he laughed, stopped, it insisted on me introducing myself to him. He decided he liked my name. Yeah, just a terrific, engaging guy. Like, definitely not the guy to be anxious about. He's just a huge sweetheart. And I've seen him at CSUN, probably 5 or 6 times. I haven't always gone over to say hi because there's usually just a massive crowd of people around him. Plus, he's signing autographs for people. But I've never seen him even, remotely standoffish in any way. He's just so down to earth.
Wow.
Really,
Yeah, he's a sweetheart. And also, Steve, now you made me realize, I'm realizing now, 11 months later, I never got his autograph.
Neither did I,
goodness.
but I'm not into that anyway. So.
But that's so interesting. And one of the things that really struck me last time we talked is really, we talked to a lot of developers of AT through the years, and not everybody has this ethos of community testing or engaging with say whatever disability community that they're building a service or a product for, and usually those are the products that fail. So I think that your example really just highlights how beneficial it can be both to the manufacturer or the developer of a product, as well as the user base that the product's being developed for, to engage with them, because you can get use cases that you never dreamed of, or you can get feedback that can really dramatically affect the development of the product in a positive way.
Absolutely. In fact, I'll extend that statement and say, not only do you understand additional use cases that you probably never thought of, the feedback that you act on makes the product better for everyone. In fact, I'll give you a very subtle and completely what seems like an inconsequential example, but it massively changed the product. So we did this pilot commissioned by the state of New York. So for those of you who don't know, the state of New York is actually probably leading the domain in terms of assistive technology, deployment, using technology to really make the lives a lot more dignified, a lot more independent for users with different kinds of disabilities. It's led by a wonderful human being called Greg Olson, really amazing, down-to-earth guy. And so they actually heard about Lotus. They decided to commission a pilot. They decided to give it to 3 of their departments: Department of Aging for older adults and seniors, Department of Veterans Affairs for injured veterans, and then Department of Independent Living for persons with disabilities. And it was a 3-month pilot. And there was a 4th category that we weren't planning on testing, which was for users with intellectual and developmental disabilities, or IDD for short. And we weren't planning on that. And to be honest, I wasn't entirely certain if it would be good or bad, because I'd never tested it with that user group before. And there was this wonderful organization called ADAPT, ADAPT, formerly called the United Cerebral Palsy Alliance, I think. And they sort of convinced me, they sort of wore me down really, and said, no, you don't understand. It's going to be, just trust us. It's going to be great because this product is super simple and you just point and click and it's going to be great. And I was super hesitant, but they gradually wore me down. And of course, in true human-centered design style, Rob, to your point, it's one thing sort of just giving it to the disability community, but it's sort of built into the ethos of Lotus that you sort of really do true human-centered design. So for this pilot, I flew out to New York twice for 3 weeks each time and actually drove to each user's home. I ended up clocking some 3,400 some miles over 2 trips. It was actually quite interesting. We can talk about driving in upstate New York someday. Really green, really fun. And I'm meeting these users with IDD, and they're not, at least initially, they're not having a good time. And I'm scratching my head. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. You just point and click. You don't even have to aim really. As long as you're generally pointed the right direction, it works. And what we started to notice, and again, you only sort of see these things when you're very, very close, is users with IDD would push the button on the ring and keep it pressed until they saw the lights come on, or until they saw the fan turn on, or the TV, or whatever you're controlling, the fireplace, and so on. Versus most other users would push the button and release the button as well, and then expect any kind of feedback. And it seems really small and very subtle, but from the perspective of someone with low cognition, it makes complete sense, right? I'm going to keep pushing the button until something changes, at which point I'll let go. And so we decided, okay, well, that makes complete sense. Totally something we had not thought of, right? Not our lived experience. And so we came back very quickly in a span of, I think, 5 days, less than a week. We sort of changed the software on the device and redeployed the rings again to all these users under the organization of ADAPT. And immediately, all of them just fall in love with the device. And what was more surprising, more than them, all of us engineers that started using it started to love the device because it's extremely responsive now. Instead of pushing and releasing the button, which takes about 100 milliseconds or to 200 milliseconds, depending on sort of your finger dexterity, it feels like a certain delay in response. But once you start using the same rings that we built for the users with IDD, we all loved it. So much so that to the point where now we're just about to finish manufacturing another 5,000 devices. All of those devices are now set with the exact same setting that we originally only built for users with IDD, which clearly goes to show, A, you develop use cases that you never thought of, but B, once you act on those use cases, you end up making the product amazing and better for everybody because the product is that much faster now that we decided it shouldn't just be for users with IDD. We all love it. We were using them in our homes. We'd been using it ourselves for like 6 months. And we said, well, hang on. If we're all using it, we all love it. Why aren't we making this available to everybody? So there's just one tiny example, Rob, to the point you're just making. So yes, absolutely. Always, that's our thesis, optimize for disability so that it is usable by everyone.
Oh, and I love that. And, that's one of the things that really stands out about the company is this idea of optimizing for disability first. Okay, well, it's sort of an open-ended question then. Well, like, what is it about that that you think the tech industry still struggles with in order to adopt that mindset? Because it seems to me that mindset is so powerful, because, designing for disability first and then building towards the mainstream. I mean, that's a ideal way to make universal design sort of ubiquitous.
Absolutely. I think it's just one of the cases where there haven't been enough examples that and by they, I mean big tech, has seen. And big tech sort of operates like monkey see, monkey do in some ways, right? I mean, it's not that they're actively trying to not engage with the disability community. I mean, there's lots of wonderful companies doing really amazing things in accessibility. I would say my former company, Apple, is one of them. I really have massive respect for Microsoft. They do a lot of wonderful accessibility, especially if you've seen the Xbox controllers. Really, there's companies doing really wonderful things. However, those companies, because of their size, right, by the sheer scale, they actively tend to look for giant markets. And when I say giant, I mean really massively giant. And so on paper, at first glance, incorrectly, it seems like optimizing anything for disability seems like not a good business proposition. Because for these big companies, right, these are some of the biggest companies in the world. They're in the top 10 by market cap. It's just too small a market. And what they're missing, it's a mirage, and it's an incorrect assumption. It feels right, but it's wrong. And the reason is, what they're missing is, by optimizing for disability first, you're not excluding the rest of the market anyway. But you end up making it better. You end up making the product lighter, smaller, faster, simpler, easier, which everybody else wants anyway. So why the hell not do that first? And so I think that is the strongly held, intuitive, but incorrect assumption that big tech and most of the industry holds.
Yeah. Yeah, and I imagine it can be really challenging, trying to balance that. You're designing something that's ultra accessible, and without it making it feel like it's a piece, specifically a piece of AT or a medical device or something.
Right. Because I think the incorrect assumption, and again, because this tends to be prevalent in media, the incorrect assumption tends to be, well, every time I hear about assistive technology, in my mind's eye, I'm picturing a wheelchair, or I'm picturing a prosthetic. And, those are wonderful devices with wonderful use cases, but that is not the only instantiation of assistive technology, right? There's all kinds of assistive technology. And in fact, when we began Lotus, that was our mission statement, right? Build technology anyone can use by optimizing for disability first. And so the shorter version, or the corollary of that, was we said, okay, we're just going to make the anti-prosthetic. And what I mean by that is, prosthetics are great. If you need them, they're wonderful, and they really help a lot of people. But prosthetics also fall in the category of devices which are only beneficial to you if you have that type of disability, in a certain form of disability, right? If you don't have that disability, you don't need a prosthetic. And so the idea was, well, why don't we give more and more credence in hardware specifically, and this is especially rare in hardware, on devices that are essentially assistive technology devices, but to your point, are not medical. They don't draw undue attention to themselves. Because that's often how people with disabilities are defined. They're defined by their assistive tech instead of just something they have, not who they are. And so why not build something that is optimized for this very, very corner, quote unquote, corner difficult use case? But then that makes the product smaller, simpler, easier, faster for everybody else. Why not do that? And, to be honest, and everyone else in the disability domain knows this already, but I'll say it anyway. There's lots of examples of this out there, just people don't realize it. From the straw to the keyboard to curb cuts to my favorite recent example, actually, and I say recent because it's more prevalent in social media, is closed captions.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're just scrolling on LinkedIn, any video that you see by default is, on mute.
Yep.
But the captions are on. And, if I told you 30 years ago, this new technology that can convert anything that's being said into text, it would sound like you're crazy. Like, I don't need this. Why do I need this? I'm fine. I can hear, I'm fine. I don't need captions. And so it would seem like something that's only necessary for folks that are hard of hearing or deaf. And yet every single one of us probably uses it on a daily basis anytime you're scrolling on social media. And so that's another common software example. You just see it lesser in hardware.
Hey everyone, Steve here, breaking from the banter for a quick word about Canadian assistive technology. When you're considering assistive tech, we know it's a major decision and every penny counts. That's why we're committed to making your experience as supportive as possible. Our team has over 35 years of experience in the assistive technology sector, bringing expertise, empathy, and service to our customers. We don't just sell products. Our number one concern is ensuring your needs are met. We offer free consulting and will make the best recommendation we can, even if the best solution isn't a product we sell. You'll get peace of mind with our price matching policy, guaranteed if you find a lower advertised price. To get you started, we include 1 hour of free remote training with every single product. And for those big purchases, we now offer flexible payment plans through Partially, allowing you to break payments into 2 to 12 monthly installments. We provide toll-free phone support for all products and work with our service partner, Chaos Technical Services, for quick repairs. Plus, our unique loan program lets you try out demo equipment to ensure the device is the right fit before you commit. At Canadian Assistive Technology, we're dedicated to making sure we find the right assistive technology solution for you. Visit us online at www.canastech.com or call us toll-free at 1-844-795-8324. And now, back to the show.
Yeah, absolutely. And, and every time this happens, everybody's like amazed, but you're absolutely right. It is everywhere around you, and it happens organically a lot of times. And sometimes, not so much, smartphones, for example, when smartphones first came out, when the iPhone first came out, it was not accessible at all. It took two generations before they really started to bake in those accessibility features. And then it became, an incredibly powerful device for folks. But it took a while. It took two generations. But, just think if they had thought of that first, if they had baked all of that stuff in at the get-go, how much farther would we be down the road at this point, And so I think that there's all kinds of examples around us, technologically, and especially in the smart home field, which is kind of where I was hoping to talk a little bit about next, because we're hearing more and more about smart homes, and of course the Lotus Ring is part of that ecosystem. But you guys are very unique in the way that you've gone about this, because you don't need an app, you don't need Wi-Fi. And that's really unique in this space. And I think, and I kind of wanted to get your take on this, because from an outsider looking in, I really feel like smart homes, part of the problem with smart homes right now is there's just too much stuff out there. There's too many things that all have their own apps, that all need their own requirements in terms of Wi-Fi. And it feels like in order to really have a fully functional smart home, it's just way too complicated, especially for folks who are maybe seniors or folks, who have mobility challenges. What's your kind of take on the smart home space right now?
Oh, I would echo everything you said. In fact, the shortest way I can describe the smart home space is it is literally a build yourself Ferrari. That's literally what it is. It is a build it yourself or do it yourself Ferrari. If you have the time and the money and the knowledge to build it yourself, then it's wonderful. It's absolutely incredible. You can control things when you're not in the same room. Hell, you can be not even in the same home. You can be out of the house. You can be halfway across the world and control the lights in your house, right? That sounds amazing. Except it is like a build it yourself Ferrari. You need to have the time and the money and the know-how to put it all together. Versus most people just want a Toyota, right? One that comes pre-built that you can just get into and push a button and takes you from point A to point B. Maybe doesn't have all the bells and whistles of a Ferrari, but as long as I don't have to put it all together and I don't need the massive amount of time or effort or the knowledge, and usually it's all three, then I'm happy. And that doesn't exist today. And, the funny thing is, I've talked about this before. I have a lot of imposter syndrome. Way back when I had this idea, I was convinced it was the stupidest idea I had ever thought of. I I literally, I think it was 9 months. I didn't do anything about the idea because I was convinced it was a bad idea and somebody must have done it before. And there's probably a reason it doesn't exist. And, there's smart home technologies going with internet, and there must be a very good reason for that. So why would anyone consider not internet? I must be missing something. And for 9 months, all I did was interview different kinds of different people with different kinds of disabilities, people like me with limited mobility. Our COO, Natalie, who was here last time, and our head of accessibility, she is legally blind and legally hard of hearing. She has Usher syndrome. Folks who have limited cognition, the whole 9 yards. And what started to become evident is if you look at the trajectory of smart homes, which was your question, does anyone here remember the clapper?
I was just going to say, do you remember the clapper?
Yeah.
Yes.
And so I'm just glad that I'm not the only person. But thank you. Ryan, even if you don't, I appreciate you just saying
I
yes.
do. I've been sitting here thinking, I bet you that inventor thought it was the dumbest idea in the world, right?
Yeah,
and look what happened.
And marketing. Right? Clap on.
Exactly.
Clap off.
That's right.
Yep.
And so, it would seem like this completely silly, useless idea. And yet it was extremely, extremely popular. And that was, for a long time, that was the state of the art. But it turns out there were two big problems with the clapper. One, you could never have two clappers in the same room because, both would turn on and off at the same time. Right. So that was a big problem.
I thought you said you can't have more than two crappers in the same room.
Different problem, different show.
Problem.
And so that was problem number one, which is a big limitation. Problem number two, any noise would set it off. Not just you clapping, it could be a dog barking. It could be, to Liz's point, the crapper. It could be, it could be lightning, thunder, with thunder, it could be the TV playing, it could be anything. And so around the same time, because of these reasons, the clapper sort of started to wane in popularity. And around the same time is when the internet happened. Sort of internet just came into being and became, into consumer consciousness. And so the gradual shift that happened is instead of making devices like the clapper, but better, that were intuitive and easy for the end user, we gradually shifted to making products that were intuitive and easy for the engineer making it.
Interesting.
Which is what happened, right? Like with the internet, instead of figuring out what is an easy way, internet or not, what is an easy way to control my home, we all shifted very subtly, because it was a sexy, exciting new thing, to how can I use the internet to control my home? And the problem is that shift it seems really small, but it's actually massive when you think about the end user, right? So if I wanted to solve my problem, right, instead of falling asleep with the lights on, the very first step, if I wanted to turn off that ceiling light, the one that I slept on the entire night, the very first step would be I would have to replace that wall switch with a new one that connects to the internet, right? I'd have to physically take out the old wall switch, turn off the fuse, rewiring a new wall switch that connected to the internet to be able to talk to, Alexa, Google, Siri, pick your choice. That's step one. You have to rewire your home to connect to the internet. Then step two, you have to put a smart speaker everywhere you did the rewiring. So that means you have to put a smart speaker in your kitchen, in your living room, your bedroom, bathroom. And this is assuming you're okay with the privacy trade-offs, because it has to listen in all the time.
Right.
And then step three, assuming you got through steps 1 and 2, which is a big barrier in and of itself, now you have to set it all up with an app. And this is Rob or Ryan, I think this is what you guys were talking about, which is pairing, right? This is kitchen light. This is living room light. This is light number 23.
Yeah.
And that, usually, by the way, this process takes about 11 hours or $2,000 if you afford a contractor. And this is why I say this is like a build-it-yourself Ferrari. And by the way, everything I'm describing is best case if you own your house.
Yeah.
And this is, I think, Rob or Steve, to your point, if you're renting an apartment, what do you do? And let's say best case, you own your home, you have the time and the money and the effort and the know-how, and you do all this. Now, if you travel, so over Thanksgiving, if you went to visit family, you can't bring your smart home with you. Or if you're traveling and staying in a hotel for work or a vacation, you can't make that space accessible. You can't travel with your smart speakers. So it's sort of this like amazing Ferrari that you have to put together, takes a lot of time and effort and money, and even then has all these limitations. In fact, if any of you already have smart speakers today, and I just purchased a new one today, there's no added benefit to any of you because your smart speakers only work for you in your home today, and the one I purchased for me would only work for me in my home. If I came to visit any of you, my speaker wouldn't work in your home, even if I brought it, because of pairing. And that was the big thing, which was after I started digging into all these little facets, and it took me 9 months because, like I said, I assumed somebody had done it before, or there was an excellent reason why nobody was using something simple, and why everyone was using the internet. And it took me a long time to sort of dispel each of those assumptions. And gradually, it became evident that yes, everyone actually experiences the same problem. It's just way worse for people with disabilities. And so why the hell not start there first? Make a product that's simple. There is a simple setup is no setup. There's literally no setup for Lotus. It's portable because there is no setup. And that way it's usable by everybody, including people without disabilities. So why the hell not do that first?
One more thing that I've recently run into that's an issue with these sorts of technologies, and that's how long is a manufacturer going to be interested in supporting your operating system before they want you to buy a whole new product?
Right.
I've got, I just ran into this with a sous vide. It's not exactly a smart home item, but it's a sous vide. But it was a Wi-Fi connected sous vide that I could control from my phone. I could, program it through my phone and stuff. The app just disappeared one day off my phone, and I discovered, they just lost interest in it, and it doesn't work on any modern version of Android anymore. And the same thing is going to happen with a lot of this hardware, is it's just going to age out.
Right.
So I do have smart plugs in my house, and I do find those to be relatively easy for me to ask for certain things to be turned on and off. And yes, there was definitely the pairing, the setup, the blah, 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 all that other stuff. But can this work with those items as well? Because what I'm thinking of is sometimes I want to be able to turn things on, so when I come home, they're already on.
Right.
Which I can do through the app, or if I want it to, if I'm traveling and I want there to still kind of be, timed lights going on, so it looks like somebody's home. So can this work in companion or in parallel in partnership with that?
Yes-ish. And so smart plugs are definitely a great use case because it at least eliminates the rewiring aspect. Now, to your point, you still have to do all the pairing. In fact, the smart plugs, the other thing you probably have to do is usually you need a hub of some sort because the plugs can't directly connect to the internet. So the plugs connect to the hub connects it to the internet, and so on. But yes, absolutely. It has all these other functions. We don't have those functions, to be clear. Like I said, we're not Ferrari. But because the two systems are completely independent, you can have one and the other. So we've actually, in our pilot, we had some users that had already had smart homes in their home, Liz, like you. And so they were using the Lotus Switch covers on top of any other existing smart home. Now, the two don't talk directly to each other yet. And I say yet with a wink. But you could actually, the two systems are completely compatible because they're completely independent. So you can have a smart home and still have Lotus because the two are completely independent. And that's kind of an important use case. The reason, to sort of double down on your question, the reason we chose not to go Wi-Fi, other than sort of needing an app and the pairing and so on, is the challenge with anything that needs to be connected to the internet is it has to stay connected to the network all the time for it to be functional, which means it's drawing power all the time, hence the rewiring or having to plug into a wall directly because it needs power all the time. The reason we wanted, which makes it not portable is the point, amongst other things, also making setup sometimes harder. And so the reason we shied away from Wi-Fi, even though we could add it into our existing devices, is that makes the device have an extremely long battery life because it only takes power for the 50 milliseconds that you push a button. So instead of charging it every day like an Apple Watch or every couple of days like a Ring, you only need to charge the Lotus Ring once in 6 months. And so that is a trade-off with adding internet. We could add internet, and we are considering some versions of a smart plug, but not a smart plug because there's no Wi-Fi. But that is the trade-off. And for most users that we talk to, they were willing to make the trade-off. Of course, if you do want the ability to control things remotely, absolutely, a smart home is absolutely the way to go. But if mostly what you're looking for is to do your daily things at home, when you're in that space and turn on the lights that are 10 steps away from you and not have to call somebody else for help, then yeah, Lotus is a great option because there's no setup. It's plug and play, and battery life is 6 months. And because it's waterproof, you never take it off.
But a smart plug could be really convenient. You could, and let's just call it a smart plug. It may be using the same technology as a wall plate or a light switch plate, where you point it at your smart plug and it turns your coffee pot on and it turns your lights on.
Aha!
Right? Or a power bar on the floor. It turns on all my guitar amps and my keyboards.
That's exactly right.
Else,
and so the reason for the wink earlier is you're alluding to something that will soon be out, but isn't out yet, which essentially, we don't call it a plug because the problem with a plug is it's not accessible because it's very close to the floor. And so, again, part of our human-centered design, we actually won a grant from the National Institute on Disability, Independent Living Research Rehabilitation, NIDLR, for those of you who know. It's a $100,000 grant. And as part of the grant, in 5 states right now, we have another pilot going where we're trialing, let's call it a Lotus version of the smart plug. It doesn't look like a plug because the number one request we got from the very early pilots was the plugs are too close to the floor. I can't bend to get to it to set it up. And so we've actually made a different version. Again, it's still undergoing modification. But Ryan, the end goal is exactly that, which is it allows you to control, still without an app, without rewiring, and without internet. Those 3 are still true. It allows you to control things that are not controlled by wall switches anymore. So the most common examples are your bedside lamp or your fan. The bedside lamp is especially popular because pretty much everybody that we've interviewed will get up to use the bathroom at night at some point. And you don't want to turn on your ceiling lights or your ceiling anything at that point. And so it's nice to be able to just turn on your bedside lamp and then go use the bathroom and come back and not do it in the dark, which, by the way, is what most people do today. So the early feedback is already very good and very promising. And so we're just polishing that. It's sort of, for the lack of a better phrase, because we don't even have a word or name for it yet, it sort of looks like an extension cord instead of a plug. And we found that having an extension cord gives people both the manual control at their height, in addition to actually being able to control it on and off, just like the wall plates. And so the end result is the same to what you, Liz and Ryan, are saying, but without all the hassle of the initial setup.
Nice.
But again, it's soon to come. It's not launched yet. We're in pilot phase, so beta is ongoing right now.
Wow. Yeah, it's so funny. I find the smart home industry, it's very ironic because on the one hand, having a smart home is so incredibly impactful on the disability community. It means a huge difference in the quality of life for pretty much across the board, no matter what disability you have, whether it's cognitive, whether you're blind or low vision, so you have mobility issues. I mean, this could benefit everybody, and heck, well, let's throw in just able-bodied people as well.
Right.
Yet, the industry itself right now, it is so cluttered. It's just a hodgepodge. It's like the Wild West out there. There's how many brands of smart bulbs or smart plugs or thermostats, smart thermostats. It's just everywhere, and it's so fragmented, and nobody seems to have a plan. So I guess, that's the real irony to me, is that we have all this tech. It's all in place. It's all here. We could really revolutionize the smart home industry and make it organized and make it simple to use. And do all this stuff. And it always frustrates me when we have the tools, but nobody's really taken the lead and saying, here's how we do this, map it out, figure it out how to do this so that it benefits everybody. And that's why I really think that the work that you guys are doing at Lotus is really so incredibly important right now.
You're very kind. And by the way, to back up what you're saying with statistics, again, this came up in the first 9 months. I was under the impression that, smart homes are everywhere. Right? Pretty much most people must have a smart speaker. Somebody has a smart speaker all the time. And it turns out, while that is true, a lot of people do have smart speakers, right? Alexa is pretty much everywhere, closely followed by Google Homes, and then a third is Apple Siri HomePods. It turns out that 3 most common use cases are not to control homes. Most people are not using their smart speakers to control homes. The 3 most common use cases are to play music, to ask for the weather, and the third is to actually set timers, kitchen timers most commonly, or alarms.
That constantly on my phone.
Yeah, but they're not actually using it to control even lights in their home. Forget anything else. Forget fans and things like that, because that gets even more complicated. And to your point, Rob, it's not that the tech isn't there. It's optimized for the wrong thing. In an effort to make it sort of super performance driven, I want to be able to do 50 things. I feel like what got lost, and this is an opinion, not data, so I want to draw that distinction. This is my opinion, is I think somewhere along the way we sort of lost the human part, which is ultimately somebody's got to get this, set it up, use it, and they're not all engineers, so what are they supposed to do? And so the crazy part is, the reason it took me 9 months to convince myself is, even though Alexa has been around for 11 years, so actually it was launched in November 2014. So as of a few weeks ago, it turned 11 years old. So it's been around for quite a while. Market penetration of Alexa to control the home is only 5.7%. It's just under 6%. And if you add up all the Alexas and all of the Google Homes and all of the Siris that are controlling things in the home, you're just under 9%, just under 10%. It's 9.7%, I think.
Wow.
So it goes to show that the tech is amazing and can do a million things. It's just very, very difficult to get it in the first place. And so for anyone that's thinking, oh, smart homes will catch up, we're just give it a few more years, I would question that assumption. It's just, I feel like a lot of things, we're chasing the wrong thing. Everyone's chasing, what else can I do with the internet? If only I add 4 more features, then they will come. And the reality is that's not the problem. There's nobody here today that says there's not enough companies and there's not enough choice and there's not enough features in the tech that exists in the world today. That's like nobody I have interviewed so far has said, if only I had 4 more features or 3 more apps.
Yeah, that's right.
Not one. I have yet to meet this fictitious person. But the reality is I have met tons of people. Actually, one of the statistics I can quote from the New York pilot, 74% of our pilot users, so I did 85 interviews, 74% of users actually had an existing device that they've never removed from their packaging. An existing smart home device. This is 3 out of 4 people already had a free, because it was a gift, a free, most commonly Alexa at home, just sitting there. In fact, I had this is a user whose name I shall not mention, but a spinal cord injury user, wheelchair user. He got gifted 2 Alexas, one by his sister in 2016, and the second by his sister's son, his nephew, who did not know his mom gifted him already. And so in 2019, he got a second Alexa. Both are still in their original packaging.
Oh, wow.
And this was, again, he was not an outlier by any means. Like I said, 74% of our 85 interviews. And so, yeah, it goes to show that a lot of people are and sometimes it's just, the feeling of being overwhelmed, of setting this all up. Like his exact words were, I'm not an engineer. I'm not a techie. I don't know how to set all this up.
Yeah, well, no, it's really interesting. And I think that this is where, I'm putting on my marketing hat, but, this is where designing something disability first in this case is incredibly powerful, because what you're doing when you are accounting for things like, oh, well, there might be a senior demographic for this product, so we have to design it very simply, or
Right.
cognitive load might be an issue for folks in the disability community, so it has to be simple. Well, you know what? That's going to appeal to the mainstream, especially in something like the smart home field, where people are feeling like that. They're feeling like, I don't want to have to set something up. I don't want to figure it out. But man, you give me something that I can just pull out of the packaging and I can point and click and it's going to work. Sign me up. So, again, this is where, and I think that it's a really important message to be sending out to tech companies and developers and stuff like that, you know what, universal design isn't just the right thing to do. It makes perfect marketing sense.
It's actually perfect marketing sense and perfect business sense. So for anyone listening out there that's familiar with startups and investors in the VC world, the venture capital world, the big thing that they always emphasize on is, who is your go-to market? Meaning, maybe you have the next best thing in the world, but you can't target everybody all at once. You can't boil the ocean. So where are you going to start? And why are you starting there? And the wonderful thing about universal design is it forces you to focus on a very small initial subset of people. It's a small subset of people, but their pain point is really high. And so you can actually move massively the needle, even as a tiny early stage startup. You can really move the needle for a small group of people significantly and in a way that then extends to everybody else anyway. So you're not boiling the ocean. You're helping a small group of people a lot. And because of that, success, you can then gradually help more and more people. So in terms of go-to market, by starting with disability, you're starting with the people who have a daily problem or a very high intensity problem. And by starting there, you then automatically get the momentum. You start there, you have success there because you're helping people with a huge pain point or a very high frequency or high intensity pain point. And then that success momentum carries over into the rest of the market, which is the biggest problem why startups don't survive anyway. They're trying to go after this like massive chunk of the big market and they try to boil the ocean and then they die.
Yeah.
And so it not only makes marketing sense, it actually makes perfect business sense because you end up with a product and users, specifically paying customers, that will work with a startup they've never heard of because you're solving their problem massively. And then that success leads you to growing and helping adjacent markets, which then gradually hits the main market anyway. So why not do that first? And you're doing good in the world, right? If any of you have seen Hamilton, this is one of my favorite quotes. The whole idea is what is legacy? It's planting seeds in a garden you never get to see.
Yeah.
And I feel like universal design is basically planting seeds in a garden you never get to see. It continues helping people even after any of us is long gone.
Out of curiosity, how often did privacy issues come up? Because we know that these smart speakers are collecting all kinds of data about us. They're directing advertising towards us. I can't mention something near my phone and not have it come up as an advertisement later. How important was that aspect to people that you weren't collecting advertising data?
Very, very important. And I'm smiling here, but you can't see. So the number two reason, so we actually, as part of the pilot, we asked them, why aren't you, even if you like Lotus, why, forget Lotus, why not, what if we gave you an Alexa instead? And so the number three reason for not using Alexa, like I mentioned earlier, was setup complexity. That was 74% of people. The number two reason was, Steve, your point, which is massive privacy concerns. It was almost 80% of people. 78% of people, pilot users, said, yeah, I don't want to be using Alexa, even if it's been gifted to me, because I don't want it listening in private rooms like bedrooms and bathrooms, which, of course, for people with disabilities, that's actually where you use your smart tech the most. It's actually private rooms. So it was the number two reason overall and the number one for older adults. So it's a very significant reason. Privacy was a huge concern. There were lots of people who thought tech was great, but they didn't want something listening all the time. They didn't trust where the data went. They were very uncomfortable with the practices of certain companies that engage in the business of making money by selling the data. And even if they had products from companies that don't sell data to make money, they're just uncomfortable with the fact that the data was leaving their home and being used in ways that they weren't familiar with. So privacy was overall the number 2 concern, and for older adults, the number 1 concern. So it was a massive, and this is what we learned early on when we were designing the product as well, which is why instead of starting with what can we do with the internet, we ended up anchoring around what can we build without the internet that is just simple and portable. And that's actually how we got here. If you force yourself to start at a starting point of, well, thou shall not use the internet and thou shall not make it hard to set up, what is the best smart home you can make? This is the rabbit hole. This is where the rabbit hole leads you.
What are things going to look like for you guys, say, in the next 6 months? What have you got on the plate?
So the things I can talk about. So we have some fun things that are still in the pipeline. So let's just say we're controlling more and more things around the home. I think the one we're quite excited about is the thing that Brian was talking about, which is we now have this device that can control things not controlled by wall switches as well. And by the way, these are not separate devices. Your same ring will still control an infinite number of devices. So the same ring will control the things controlled by a wall switch, so ceiling lights, ceiling fan, and things not controlled by wall switches. In fact, to be honest, that's actually the prototype that we used on Shark Tank. Because for those of you who've never been on a set, I had never been on a set, they don't really have wall switches, right? Because there's no walls and there's no ceilings. It's just sort of an open warehouse. And they have a roof, but stuff is just lights hanging off there. They don't really have walls and wall switches. So when we got invited on Shark Tank, we had to figure out some way to demo the thing. And so funnily enough, we ended up using in the promo, if you Google and you'll find the teaser, if you say Lotus Shark Tank season 17 or something, will pop up. And you'll actually see the demo setup is actually using this new prototype because it's all plug-in appliances. It's a plug-in fan. It's a plug-in lamp. I forget what else we had on there. And so that's one of the things we're very excited about. It's part of this five state pilot. If you're in any of the 5 states or any of the listeners are in the 5 states, I think we still have a couple of spots left. So let me know. It's in Pennsylvania, Georgia, Florida, Washington, D.C., and California.
God damn it. Sorry.
Stipulated by the grant. So sorry, Liz. Christmas coming soon to a state near you.
I'm an ex New Yorker. I'm kind of like a New Yorker at heart still. I'm a displaced New Yorker. No, all right. I'm trying. God.
This is fantastic. I love their marketing, Liz. And so that's one of the things we're excited about. We're of course waiting for our Shark Tank episode to air, which has not happened yet. But that's all I'm allowed to say. So we're waiting. We'll hear whenever that happens, and happy to share when that happens. And yeah, those are the big things. I think the other recent thing is and this just happened. So we're quite excited to see what the reception is. We just launched a couple of colors. So up until this point, back when we were all last talking, we only had one color of the ring. We had multiple sizes, but just one color, which was sort of a dark gray, a dark silver, if you will. Now we have silver, and what seems to be the most popular is a rose gold. So it will actively be available. It is available now and will be available in bulk starting January. So
very cool.
If anyone's looking for a Christmas gift, this is fun.
I'll have more questions after your Shark Tank.
We should almost have you on and all watch it at the same time.
I know. We need to
have a commentary on it.
That would be great. Actually, one of the things we've been getting requests on, funnily enough, from the pilot users, no less, is if we can have like a watch party or something. But of course, I have to say, there are no guarantees. They've been made it very clear. There are no guarantees. It's entirely possible that the episode never airs. So I'm not promising anything, but
okay.
We are in the teaser, and so that's all I can say.
You're on Frickin' Time magazine. They're airing the show. they drive it home that there are no guarantees. So I guess training worked.
Well, see, well, no, listen, let's stay in touch because let's definitely do something because I definitely want to, yeah, it's very exciting. This is very exciting.
Thank you.
And we're not going to wait another 2 years to have you on.
That would be, I mean, I have to say, I'm having FOMO of not being at this holiday party already. So I think
that's right.
You're going to be hearing from me one way or another.
That's perfect. Well, listen, for people out there that want to learn more, that are interested in the product, where can they find you guys online?
Yeah. So if you want to learn more about the Lotus Ring, you can check out our website, www.getlotus.com. That's Lotus like the flower, Lotus. So getlotus.com. Or you can email me. My name is Dhaval, Dhaval, at getlotus.com. But yeah, happy to talk to anyone.
Awesome. Well, thanks for dropping in again. And yeah, let's. I'm excited about the Shark Tank thing.
Fingers
Too
crossed.
excited. Not too excited. I just want to make sure. A couple of lawyers out there.
I love that. It's one of my favorite shows. So I'm very excited to watch and hopefully see you.
Well, fingers crossed. Again, like I said, no guarantees, but fingers crossed. For the time being, all I can say is check out the teaser if you haven't seen it.
Okay. Well, listen. Let's stay in touch. And thanks again. And we'll talk again soon.
Absolutely. Can I just say, I hope you guys never change. You guys are a riot and you're super fun. And I have to say, this was like the high point of my day. It was just fun listening to you guys for the first 10 minutes. Just a blast. Just a freaking blast.
Oh, you shouldn't have put a timestamp on that because Rob usually edits that down to about 30 seconds of detail.
No. Who, me?
Let's just say I'm expecting at least one Christmas gift to be sort of colonoscopy ASMR. Just from somebody, anybody, but somebody. You guys are a blast.
All right. Well, listen, thanks. Best of luck. Have a great holiday. And
thanks, guys.
We'll talk to you again in the new year.
Talk in the new year. Have a good one.
Thank you, too.
Take care.
Take care.
Bye. There you go.
Are you excited, Steve?
Yeah, I am. You know, it's such a cool product, and as I get it out in front of more people, you know, I learn more things.
Right.
You know, I was in Alberta a couple of weeks ago, and the folks at the Glenrose Hospital, they were interested in it because clients in rental units, they can't put certain smart plugs into them. So they were super, oh, excuse me, I got hiccups now. They were super interested in it. I took it down to the folks here in BC, Technology for Independent Living, and you know, they looked at it and they went, well, what if you can't click a ring? It's like, well, hell, I hadn't even thought about that. You know, it never crossed my mind. So, you know, we're sitting around a table and one of the guys goes, well, what if you took one of those Abilia universal remotes? And we sell those freaking things, but it never crossed my mind that these things could cross path. But they do. You can train the Ring on the Abilia remote, and you can turn off and on all the modules. The only downside to it is that the Abilia remote has a much wider field, so it'll, you know, if you've got items that are
turn all
close
the
to
lights
one
on.
another, it'll turn on more than one if they're close.
Right.
But even so, it provides a switch accessible option, and we even have now a switch accessible option that uses brain signals. So somebody could turn their lights on and off, presumably with a headset.
Right.
So, I mean, some of this stuff is getting pretty cool, man.
Yeah, no, it really is. Yeah. And you know what's really refreshing, you know, in talking with Dhaval, you know, it's so unique to have a design so simple and to go simpler as opposed to more complicated. To go, you know, what's gonna be the easiest thing to use with the greatest functionality versus, hey, how can we monetize this app and how can we sell people's data, or at the very least, how can we just make it really super shiny and sexy so that people are going to want to do it. And I feel like that's kind of the smart home mentality these days. Yeah, it's simplicity, man. It's where it's at, and I think that that's what the smart home industry really needs to embrace in order to really take it to, I think, to a level where it can actually be useful across the board. Because I think even in the mainstream, people are tired of too many apps. Too many apps, too many streaming services, too many this, too many that. Like it's just we're
too many
overloaded.
invasions of privacy.
Yeah, that too, for sure.
You know,
For sure.
a smart home. You know, if I was to design a smart home hub, it would be a hub that would sit in the center of the home. You'd press a button, you'd take a module for it, you'd press another button, they would pair automatically, and then you could place the thing where you want it. It would have no internet connection, no nothing, but you would be able to control it.
Yeah.
Now, the downside to it is you'd still probably need an app, and the app could age out as I lost interest. But you know, that's what's happening with devices all the time now. Apparently, it's like, oh well, you know, that was supported in Android 8, but now we don't support that in Android 14 anymore.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Or even having like one app to rule them all, so to speak. Even that doesn't exist. Like every single smart home device wants its own app. And yeah, I mean, sure. I mean, I guess there are smart home manufacturers out there that manufacture like a bunch of different products. Like isn't Ring kind of like that, right? Like they have the doorbell, but they also have a thermostat or Nest or whatever. Like I guess those do exist, but then you're tied into one ecosystem, and I don't know.
Maybe that's what Dhaval needs to do. He needs to come up with the one ring to rule them all.
Listen, I think that's exactly what he needs to do. I think it's totally. You get that
engraving on the outside of it, make it light up. Oh.
See, maybe you could build something that has LiDAR built into it. So as you're just walking past a switch, the switch goes on.
Well, they do
LiDAR
that now
will detect doorways. So
yeah, they do that now with motion sensing. What is that? Is that ultrasonic? I can't remember. We've actually got lights that'll just turn on automatically as you walk past.
Right.
But yeah, interesting.
Yeah, we need to get away from apps and.
Well, exactly, and all of the pitfalls that come with them, the forced obsolescence, the built-in invasions of privacy, the configuration that can be a nightmare. I got for my birthday. My birthday was last month, and I got for my birthday a red light. Like a goal red light that like you'd have over top of a hockey net, and configuring that thing was a absolute baffling experience.
And you're a tech.
And I'm a tech with 35 years of experience in the bloody industry. And their app was crappy. It was just crappy as hell. And it's like, oh no, you don't log in there. You log in here to do that. And it's like, oh no, you log in there to do that. There were two different accounts for the same damn device.
Yeah.
It was a ridiculous, and on top of it, at the end of the day, the thing didn't work.
Yeah.
Simple, good. Point, click, bang, lights on, lights off.
Yeah.
Not the clapper.
Yeah, totally. I forgot about the clapper, actually.
Yeah, I got to go online and see if I can find a clapper now. Bet you they're on eBay still.
I wonder.
And it also made me think of, I'm wondering, because I don't know anything about this, but like even touch lamps. I'm wondering if those weren't developed initially as some sort of AT.
Yeah, I have my nightstand light is a touch lamp, so in the dark I just reach over and just there it goes.
Yeah.
Hey,
I'm actually a huge fan. Except for if I'm leaning over to get my Ambien and I accidentally touch it and all of a sudden it's like bright and I'm like, crap.
Hey, Ryan.
Yeah.
Canadian Tire
has the clapper.
They have the clapper.
They still have it.
It's still made. Wow.
It is still made. It is $29.99 at Canadian Tire.
You need to get one for the Christmas party.
You guys would just be turning the Christmas tree on and off over and over.
Woo!
More drinks we get into you, the more there'd be clapping.
That's right.
Either that, or are we somehow connected to shots?
Or the cowbell.
There you go.
All right. Well, we better get out of here.
Yep.
It's getting late. Well, okay. Last show of the year. Anybody got any messages for the audience before we go?
Yeah, be kind to one another.
There you go. I like that one.
Or I'll come and kick your ass.
Good. I love it. All right. Well, on that note, because nobody's going to beat that.
Nope.
Why? Hey, Ryan.
Hey, Rob.
Nothing. Hey, Liz.
Hey, Steve.
What about me?
Wow. Where can people find us?
Oh, see, now he's not in the mood.
Somebody go.
Rob, I think this is back to you, man.
Okay. People can find us at, I'm not used to doing that. They can find us at www.atbanter.com.
That's true. They can also find us on social.
Oh my God, you've broken into the shots already.
Yeah, I can't. Apparently, can't talk. Social media. We are on social media. We're on Mastodon. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook. Well, we're not on Instagram, but we're on Facebook for sure.
And hey, Liz, a hypothetical situation. Say someone wanted to email us. Where would they email us?
They can email us at cowbell@atbanter.com.
And that's the last cowbell strike unless somebody actually does finally email us after 10 years.
Whoa.
You've never got an email about the cowbell? Of course we've gotten emails about the cowbell, because remember we gave away some cowbells and people emailed us to get the free cowbells.
That was years ago.
Okay, well, Ryan,
let's pitch it out there again. Free cowbell. Email us.
Red Steve's giving out cowbells.
I'm not necessarily, but I'm looking for the email. I'm willing to do a bait and switch.
Maybe cowbell.
Nice.
Yeah, there you go.
While you're at it, folks, while you're looking for your free cowbell, get onto some rating site and rate our podcast as 5-star, 10-star, depending on what the rating is, and get us some awards. We want awards.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah,
we do.
We're looking for anything, any kind of signal that we're actually doing something here that people care about.
Give us 10 stars. And if there are not 10 stars, then email Apple and demand that they add more stars to the rating system so that you can give us more stars.
I don't know, because Rob, you're a moron and I'm not funny.
Oh, God. Wow. Well, that's...
I honestly think they had the wrong words in there.
And you say we get no email.
Yeah, that's true. That's true, Ryan.
I do have the inbox. I have looked at it.
We shouldn't give out the email.
We shouldn't give out the email?
Maybe we shouldn't.
Yeah, we'll just stop.
Whatever you do, folks, don't email cowbell.
I told you that was the last cowbell.
I couldn't get them to do it. Okay, all right. At atbanter.com.
Perfect. All right. And with that is going to about do it for us this week and this year. We will see everybody next year. Happy New Year. Happy holidays.
Enjoy.
This podcast has been brought to you by Canadian Assistive Technology, providing low vision and blindness solutions, as well as physical access solutions and augmentative communication aids across Canada. Find us online at www.canastech.com, or if you're in the Vancouver Lower Mainland, visit our storefront at number 106 828 West 8th Avenue in Vancouver. That's one block off Broadway at Willow. You can reach us by phone toll-free at 1-844-795-8324, or by email at sales@canastech.com.